1929. A simple question forces the world's most famous scientist to reveal his soul. The question isn't about relativity. It's not about the speed of light or the curvature of space-time. It's about God. A rabbi named Herbert S. Goldstein sends Albert Einstein a telegram. 5 words. Do you believe in God? And 2 more. Reply paid. He's already covered the cost. Einstein can't dodge this. The whole world waits for the answer, because Einstein isn't just any scientist. He's the man who rewrote the laws of the universe. Whatever he says about God will echo for generations. The reply arrives, and it stuns everyone. I believe in Spinoza's God, who reveals himself in the lawful harmony of the world, not in a God who concerns himself with the fate and the doings of mankind. Atheists are baffled. Einstein speaks of God with absolute conviction. Believers are equally confused. That's not their God. And most people, even educated ones, have barely heard of Spinoza. But Einstein didn't choose him randomly. He chose Spinoza because no other philosopher in history could answer the question Einstein was actually asking. Not does God exist, but what kind of God can survive in a universe governed by perfect laws? That's what we're uncovering today. To understand why Einstein turned to Spinoza, you first need to see what he was running from. Einstein grew up in a loosely Jewish household. As a boy, he engaged with religion, briefly. But at 12 years old, something shattered. He started reading popular science books, and he realized that many of the biblical stories simply couldn't be true. What emerged wasn't indifference. It was rejection. Conscious, deliberate, permanent. But here's the problem. Einstein wasn't a cold rationalist. He was a man who felt wonder every time he looked at the universe. Every time an equation perfectly described the motion of planets, the bending of light, the dance of particles. That didn't feel random, it felt sacred. So he was stuck. Traditional religion demanded he believe in a God who answered prayers, who rewarded the righteous, who intervened in human affairs when he saw fit. But Einstein couldn't accept that. If the universe follows inviolable laws, then no God can break them to answer a prayer. And if God can break them, then they aren't laws. They're suggestions. He put it bluntly. No one who is convinced of the regularity of all events can take seriously the idea that the course of events can be influenced by prayer. But he wasn't an atheist either. Denying God without offering something in its place felt just as intellectually lazy. The problem wasn't whether God existed. The problem was what the word God even meant. And that's when he found Spinoza. Not through casual browsing, through recognition, like finally finding the words for something you've felt your entire life, but never knew how to say. Picture this. You're going to write a book about God, but you're not going to write theology. You're not going to appeal to scripture or tradition or mystical experience. You're going to write it like Euclid wrote geometry. Definitions, axioms, propositions, proofs. Every claim built on the one before it. No leaps of faith, no appeals to authority, just logic. That's exactly what Baruch Spinoza did in his masterwork, The Ethics, and that decision alone tells you everything about what kind of thinker he was. He was saying, the truth about God can be demonstrated. It doesn't require faith, it requires rigor. For Einstein, that was a revelation. Here was a man who spoke about God without miracles, without holy texts, without priests telling you what to believe. Spinoza approached God the way a mathematician approaches a theorem. And his conclusion, God is not above the universe looking down. God is the universe. Everything that exists in God. The laws of nature aren't rules God imposed from the outside. They're the way God expresses himself. They are God. Spinoza captured this in 3 Latin words. Deus sive Natura. God, or nature. Not 2 separate things. One reality with 2 names. Now, why did this resonate so deeply with Einstein? Because it gave him a God without caprice, a God who doesn't play favorites, who doesn't suspend the laws of physics for anyone. Not because he's indifferent, but because he is those laws. Think about what that means for a physicist. Einstein spent his entire career discovering the mathematical structure underlying reality. And Spinoza was telling him, that structure is God. You're not studying creation from the outside. You're studying the mind of the divine. Einstein once said his goal was to know how God thinks. The rest, he said, are details. After Spinoza, he knew exactly which God he meant. Not the God who hears prayers, the God who is the equation. Here's the question I want you to sit with. Can a God without personality, without will, without emotion, without the ability to care, still be called God? Or does stripping away those qualities mean we're just calling the universe by a different name? Drop your answer in the comments. 1905. Einstein publishes the most famous equation in history, E = mc squared. In plain language, matter and energy are not two different things. They're the same substance in different forms. A block of iron and a beam of light, at the deepest level, are manifestations of one underlying reality. Now rewind 250 years. Spinoza writes that the universe contains only one substance. Everything we see, mind, matter, motion, thought, are different expressions of that single infinite substance. God and nature aren't separate. They're two ways of describing the same fundamental reality. Einstein arrived at this conclusion through mathematics. Spinoza arrived at it through pure reason. Two minds, 2.5 centuries apart. Completely different methods. Same answer. Now, this doesn't mean physics proves Spinoza's pantheism. That's not how science works. But it does mean something profound. The structure Einstein discovered in the physical world echoed the structure Spinoza discovered in logic. And there was another point where their visions aligned perfectly. Determinism. For Spinoza, nothing in the universe could be otherwise. Every event, every thought, every motion follows necessarily from what came before. The universe doesn't have accidents. Everything that happens had to happen. For Einstein, this wasn't metaphysics. This was physics. The universe, he believed, is a perfect clockwork. If something appears random, it's not because reality is random. It's because we don't yet understand the hidden mechanism. Chance isn't a feature of the cosmos. It's a feature of our ignorance. This conviction was about to put him in the fight of his life. Because in the 1920s, a new generation of physicists built a theory that threatened to demolish everything he and Spinoza believed. This is where most people stop understanding Einstein, because what happened next wasn't just a scientific disagreement. It was a crisis of faith. The theory was called quantum mechanics, and what it said was profoundly unsettling. At the subatomic scale, particles don't have definite properties until you measure them. Before measurement, an electron exists in multiple states simultaneously, not because we don't know which state it's in, but because, according to the theory, it genuinely isn't in any single state. The act of observation forces reality to choose. In other words, the universe, at its most fundamental level, is not deterministic. It's probabilistic. Einstein understood the math perfectly. His objection wasn't ignorance. It was philosophical. If the universe is probabilistic at its foundation, then Spinoza's determinism collapses. And if Spinoza's determinism collapses, then Spinoza's God, a God of absolute order, perfect logic, inviolable necessity, cannot exist. Not as Einstein understood him. This wasn't just an academic dispute. It was existential. In a letter to physicist Max Born, Einstein wrote, "Quantum mechanics is very impressive, but an inner voice tells me that it is not yet the real thing. The theory produces a good deal but hardly brings us closer to the secret of the old one. I am at all events convinced that he does not play dice. The old one." That's what Einstein called God in private, with affection, with reverence. And what he was saying was this: a God who is the rational structure of reality cannot govern a reality built on chance. Niels Bohr, the architect of quantum theory, fired back with a line that became just as famous. Einstein, stop telling God what to do. The debate raged for decades, and Einstein lost. Quantum mechanics became one of the most experimentally verified theories in the history of science. But Einstein never surrendered. He spent the last 30 years of his life searching for a unified theory, an equation that would reveal the hidden order beneath quantum randomness. He was trying to read the mind of Spinoza's God. He died in 1955, in Princeton, with those unfinished equations scattered across his desk. He never found it. So here's the question. Was Einstein right to reject quantum mechanics because it contradicted his vision of God? Or did the universe itself prove that Spinoza's deterministic God doesn't exist, and Einstein just couldn't let go? Let me know what you think in the comments. January 1933. Adolf Hitler seizes power in Germany. Einstein is in California, giving lectures. The news arrives in fragments. His Berlin home has been raided, his belongings confiscated. His books are on Nazi burn lists. His name appears in a regime publication titled Enemies Not Yet Hanged, with his photograph and a bounty. Einstein absorbs it all, and he never goes back. He resigns from the Prussian Academy of Sciences, renounces his German citizenship, settles in Princeton for the rest of his life. What stunned his biographers wasn't the exile itself, it was his tone. No bitterness in his letters, no calls for revenge, a calm that people around him found almost inhuman. Where did that calm come from? Spinoza. Spinoza taught that true freedom isn't the absence of obstacles, it's the understanding of necessity. When you grasp that the world operates according to laws indifferent to your desires, you stop fighting reality. The pain doesn't vanish, but it loses its power to destroy you. Einstein had internalized this deeply. His exile, cruel as it was a single wave in an ocean that existed long before him and would continue long after. But here's what matters. That calm wasn't passivity. From Princeton, Einstein wrote letters to world leaders, lobbied institutions, helped dozens of Jewish scientists escape Europe. He fought, but without the hatred that consumes those who fight hatred. That was Spinoza lived, not just read. It was philosophy as a way of surviving history without being crushed by it. Let's return to the telegram. 1929. A rabbi asks Einstein, "Do you believe in God?" Einstein answers with the name of a 17th century philosopher most people had never heard of. Now you know why. It wasn't atheism. It was the only conception of God that could hold together everything Einstein knew to be true. His science, his reason, and his need for something greater than himself. A God you don't reach through prayer, who doesn't console with promises of an afterlife, but who offers something deeper. The knowledge that you are part of an infinite rational order, that your suffering isn't random, that the universe doesn't need to care about you for you to belong to it. Einstein died searching for the equation that would unlock the mind of that God. He didn't find it, but he was looking in the right direction. And that leaves us with the question I want you to carry with you. If there's no judge in the heavens, no divine plan tailored to you, but you are, right now, a conscious part of the entire intelligence of the cosmos. How does that change the way you wake up tomorrow? Write your answer in the comments. And if this made you think, the next video goes even further, because recent discoveries in physics are revealing something Spinoza could never have imagined. What if the connection between all things isn't just a philosophical metaphor? What if it's a measurable, physical fact? The next video, pantheism and quantum physics. Are we all connected? Don't miss it.